hello. Here we are at the Daily Antidote on 1567th day. Yes, sirree. And we're just moving along in this unstoppable train of music and wonderful singing leaders and wonderful people coming every day in our Daily Antidote community. And today, I'm very excited personally to have Phil Hogg here because I've just always wanted to get to know him when I've seen him join the gang. And so that's exciting for me. But first, let's say hello to a few people. I want to say, of course, hello to Phil, who's in Newcastle today. And thanks very much to Candace and Bryn, who are doing tech. And there's Joe, our faithful leader, and hello in Tacoma Park, and hello David and Elsie in Oakland, Susan in Cincinnati, Arlene in Berkeley, and hello to Carolyn in Boise, Ian and Sarah, how do you do? And another UK, Ruth and Clive in Birmingham, Kathleen in Albuquerque, Amanda in Michigan, and how about Sue and Amanda and Miles, and Sue, hello Sue, and Seattle, Linda, Orcas Island, Sarah in Texas, Elizabeth's in California. Hello, Trish from Victoria. Hey, Bob, he's in Albany. Maureen, how are you doing? In Edmonton, Canada. Caroline in Washington, D.C. Hello, Storm, good to see you from the Northeast somewhere, I'm pretty sure. Dory and Ollie and Rhode Island, and Delhi in Maryland. Athena in Brooklyn, and looking around here, there we go. And now we got Bobbin in Massachusetts. Hello, Cricket in Maryland, and Deborah in Kentucky. Marcia, good to see you in Ontario. Hello, Hoda from British Columbia. We got people from all over the place here. Diane from Coamo, Nancy from Washington, Sandy from Western North Carolina, and we have Sarah and Annette in California. Hello, Mabel, and Bear in Massachusetts. Anne, hello, and Anne's in Silver Spring. And then we have Martha in Oregon. And if I missed you, I'm sorry, but I'll just say hello to anybody I missed. And that is the gang today. So here we are on this. I don't know where it is where you are, but we have a beautiful day in Vermont. Phil Hogg, what's it like there up in Newcastle? What's happening in Newcastle?
It's hi everyone, and how wonderful to be here again and see everyone's lovely faces. Yeah, thanks, Peter. The weather's pretty good here for Newcastle. It's warm and sunny, comfortable. You know, it's not too hot, but it's a nice day.
And we're looking forward to hearing what do you have for us today, Phil? We're looking forward to hearing this.
I have a new song that I wrote last week, actually, but it just sort of happened very, very quickly, and I thought I'd love to kind of try it out on you today, and I think the subject of the song, how it turned out to be, yeah, it's just something I'd like to share with the antidoters here.
It sounds wonderful. Great. Let's go.
Okay, great. Well, there's quite a big backstory to this song, but I guess first of all, I'll sing it. It looks like it's got quite a lot of words in the chat there, although it came out very quickly. But probably the things that you need to know before we sing it, the name of the song is Imperial. And Imperial, I don't know if you know, is the name of a typewriter, a British typewriter. The company was founded in 1902, or actually it was named Imperial in 1908, and they exported typewriters all over the world. I think maybe in the States they might have been called Royal. I think they might have had a different name, but the equivalent of Remington. So that's important to know. But of course, Imperial also implies the British Empire and the story there. And then one other thing to know is that here at my parents' home in Newcastle, we have an Imperial typewriter, a really old one. And I really remembered that when the parts of the story started to come together. So there is a chorus, and it's only got one word. which is, you guessed it, Imperial. So maybe I'll just share that with you first, if you want to sing along with that. It comes back quite a few times, and one of the lovely things that I found was Imperial. Whatever the connotations the word has in its meaning, is a lovely word to say and to sing. So the chorus each time is just Imperial 4 times, and it goes like this. Imperial, 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 Imperial. So the first time it's kind of straight, Imperial. Second one has a little falling figure on it, Imperial. Next one straight, Imperial. And the last one kind of goes down and up, Imperial. But it's not a hard and fast thing. You can vary that, and I will no doubt vary that as well. So here we go. Here's the song, and it kind of tells a story. Actually, let's start with the chorus. Imperial, 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 Imperial. When Hidalgo founded you, it was 1908. Business was expanding, you had the world on a plate. A revolution in the office, saving precious time. You helped us to communicate, a friend in word and rhyme. Imperial machines in every corner of the world, like the empire you were named after, with its flag unfurled. A family's prized possession, a household name. But what were the stories behind the fame of Imperial? Imperial, Imperial, Imperial. By the late 1960s, the world had changed, with a new Big Corp owner and economies to be made. You began to turn the tables, look far and wide for a source of cheap labor to keep the profits high. So you scouted through the countries where the empire used to ride, living up to your name, exploitation in your mind. When it came to fair conditions and a decent living wage, you were found wanting, the same story once again of Imperial, 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 Imperial. Double standards and mistreatment, impossible demands to make the output rise and rise again, more than anyone could stand. And when the moment came, they couldn't take it anymore. The union sided with you and abandoned those who called Imperial. Can you hear me all right? Great. 12 weeks the workers stayed out, sacrificed their pay, supported by their community. Love will find a way, with the women at the forefront, standing tall and proud. They showed the way to others and said something out loud like Imperial. Hey, Imperial, we're not inferior. You're not superior, Imperial, not so imperial. not your slaves anymore. Imperial. And even though in the end you might ask what was achieved, something had changed, something was believed, like knowing who your friends are and how power behaves, self-determination and a parting of the waves. Imperial, Imperial, no more Imperial, Imperial. And now 50 years later, I'm visiting my home. Looking through a cupboard, something sits there on its own. Open the container, like remembering a dream, with its keys and bells and ribbons, a magical machine. Imperial, it's an Imperial, Imperial. Yes, it's an Imperial, Imperial.
Wow. Thank you, Phil. That's fantastic. Thank you so much. And
Thank
that
you
just
so
last
much.
week, a song we're honored to be here. The song that's just a week old, making its way
Yeah,
into the world. And I know I love the typewriter, the typewriter and the UK the total the empire on one hand. A nice interesting wonderful balance there. And I'm dying to hear the story you got behind that.
yeah. Well, it was wonderful, incredible. Carolyn held up I don't know if it was an Imperial typewriter, but it looked a very heavy old typewriter. That made me, I almost started laughing. That was so nice.
Yeah,
Um, so yes, so the story is that Imperial typewriters were manufactured in the city of Leicester,
yeah.
in the kind of middle of England. Um, and yeah, quite a lot of things were manufactured there. I think it was famous for, might have been cloth as well, perhaps before that, but certainly in the industrial age, um, a lot of things would be made there and exported all around the world. But the reason why I was in Leicester, just to give the backstory, at the moment, I'm in Newcastle at this moment, but I live in Devon in Totnes, so I'm up and down England a lot, and I'm really, it's a bit tiring all of that travel, but I'm really enjoying getting to know places a little better in the sort of center of England. Obviously, compared to the States, England isn't a big country, but there are places, unless you go, you don't really know how they are. So I'm really enjoying basically stopping anywhere and everywhere. And the thing that I already knew and that is just confirmed is that everywhere is interesting. Wherever you go, there's stories, there's people's lives, there's histories, there's new things. Um, so Leicester was a kind of stopover. In particular, I stopped there so that I could just check in with Shruti Jr. So it was a DAS connection that made this song happen. So that's Shruti Jr.,
Well,
who is
yeah.
a pupil of Shruti Sr., who's very
Uh-huh.
familiar with everyone here. But Shruti, her student and friend, lives in Leicester. And we just kind of connected over the chat here and worked out that I'd be passing through Leicester and why don't we just meet
Oh,
up?
great.
So that was a lovely thing. And we recorded a song, an original song, an impromptu song
Yeah.
when we met in a park in Leicester. And that is on YouTube. So I'd be
Oh.
totally delighted if people were to look at what we did together.
What do you, what would you type in to find that song? What would you type in to find that if we forget the name?
Um, So my YouTube channel, it would be the place to go, which is just my
Yeah.
name, Phil Hogg.
Okay.
I think probably someone's going to pop that in the
Yeah.
chat. And then the song was called Temple Child. So I think it says Temple Child in Leicester.
That'll get you there. Temple Child in Leicester. Okay.
Yeah, and you can see me and Shruti sitting in a park, um, working on this song. Um,
Wonderful.
is the sound all right? I just saw a
Yo,
message
can
that
hear
said
you great. It
it's low.
sounds
Yeah.
really clear.
Okay, fab. So there I was in Leicester, and having a tea with Shruti and playing some music together. And as I left, I noticed like a sculpture, small public sculpture, and reading it's actually three. Turns out that it's three, like the keys of a typewriter. The kind of bars that come, I don't know what the technical word is, but that's what it is. So it's not a whole typewriter, so it's a little difficult to know what it is. But if you read the plaque and look at it closely, it's a sculpture commemorating the Imperial
Oh,
typewriters factory that was on that site.
right.
Now it's kind of derelict land, but it's as a lot of cities in the UK and in many other places as well, they're post-industrial now, and they're kind of finding their new kind of character in a way. So there's a lot of new building, and I really liked being in Leicester, but this area is the old industrial area. So that kind of made me think, oh, isn't that interesting? This is where the typewriters were made, of which we have one at home that I can remember, when I was little. It didn't get used very often, but I was really fascinated by it, and I wanted to play it and get it out of its case, but I wasn't allowed because it wasn't really a toy. But I remembered, oh, that was an Imperial typewriter. So I thought there and then that, oh, I'd quite like to write a song about that, like discovering that these typewriters were made in Leicester, and that was kind of, in a way, something to be proud of, a good quality product, a popular product made in the UK in a different time. So that was my idea. So I Googled Imperial typewriters, Leicester, and the story that appeared was a completely unexpected one. And this was so interesting, and I feel like just one of those reminders that all the things we use, all the products, all the things all around us, things we wear, they all have a kind of backstory as well. And the label might suggest one thing, but the actual background, like who really makes that product, and how is their life? Because it turned out that Imperial typewriters from the late 60s, they were taken over by a big corporation who brought over a workforce from South Asia, from India, from the
Mhm.
former empire countries,
Yeah, yeah.
with the express idea of this being cheap labor, that they could pay less, could get to do the
Oh my gosh.
least
Yeah.
pleasant jobs, and they wouldn't know, they wouldn't be any the wiser. They can do this job, and it's such a fascinating story that I just felt had to be told,
That's
but I
amazing.
never heard it. So the productivity when that new workforce came shot through the roof like you wouldn't believe, but the wages went down, and
So
uh,
they were more efficient workers, but they made less money. Is that?
exactly. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
right. That's right. So, can you imagine you're in a new country? There's kind of racism in the air. There's a
Yeah.
big influx of South Asian workers. So to be able to stand up for yourself and say this is just not right was an
Hmm.
incredible thing. And then that part of the story that actually when they went to their
Oh.
union,
Oh.
the union said, this is how things are here. Stop making trouble. Yeah, just unbelievable, really. And yet they went to
The union said that. The other workers said that, or
the union, I'm afraid. So it's
yeah.
as you'll see in one of the BBC articles, it was a shameful
Wow.
episode in
Oh
union
dear.
history.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, so they had to go it alone, totally alone, and apparently it was like exemplary, and it was a predominantly women who were kind of organizing that strike. And it sounds amazing. There were like meetings and talks and concerts, and collections and
And
different
they were
groups.
not, so they were they part of a union? The workers from out
Uh,
of the
I,
country?
I think they were,
But
but the
the
union
union wasn't
totally.
supporting them, so they did their own strike,
Exactly, exactly,
an extra union strike outside of the union.
exactly,
Wow,
exactly.
amazing! Wow,
Um, So yeah, there's so much
yeah,
information, and I
yeah,
think the links to the two articles that I mostly used for writing the song,
yeah.
I think are coming up in the chat because it's fascinating reading, and
Oh, great!
um,
What a great story! That's
yeah,
a really great story, and it's
yeah,
just amazing from the lowly and wonderful typewriter
yeah, that's
into
right.
I definitely I went through from handwriting to typewriter to to electric typewriter, the whole thing, but that's such a great story, really great
Yeah,
story. Thank
a
you.
bit like vinyl records. Apparently, there's a little scene of typewriters coming back. Uh,
Oh.
Partly because I saw in the chat Tom Hanks famously collects
That's
them.
right. That's right. I remember that about him. He always writes on a regular typewriter. That's really funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, yeah, typewriters and cassette tapes and vinyl records. It's all this sort of. Well, that's great. We could certainly talk a lot more about that. But what I think we should
Yeah.
do in terms of the clock, and in terms of is to sing. I'd like you to just sing whatever you want of that song, so we can sing it some more. And I just also you just seem to churn out the songs, Phil. Do you really? It sounds like you're quite a prolific songwriter. An idea comes into your head and a song comes out. Is that pretty accurate?
Well, I'm very happy that you get that impression. Sometimes I would say
Yeah,
I think I have song ideas all the time,
yeah,
and whether whether they turn into actual complete songs,
yeah,
it seems to depend a lot on whether I actually do something about it. Like in this case, I have felt a real urgency because
yeah, yeah,
we had an election here just 2 weeks
yes,
ago. We've
right.
been thinking politically, really.
Yeah, you have
Um,
a whole new landscape out there politically right now for people
that's
for
right.
presidents.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
a reasonably optimistic result.
So
I think.
let's go ahead and let's sing some
Hmm.
more. Let's sing some more.
Okay, which is my favorite bit. Okay, why don't we go from uh, could we go from the 12 weeks the workers stayed out from there to the end? Because then you get the yes, although the what they hoped for didn't really come about because eventually the factory was closed.
Oh dear.
Um, but the precedent that was set actually went on, and it seems that the legacy was very strong and very positive. And then we get the little bit, which is me coming now to this home, my childhood home in Newcastle, and kind of finding that old
Yeah,
Imperial typewriter
right.
again in a cupboard. So if you would please join me
Okay.
from that point.
It's a little bit past halfway, it looks like. Starts with 12 weeks at the beginning of the line if you're looking for it. Okay, go.
That's
Let's
it.
go. Let's sing.
Lovely. 1, 2, 3, 4. 12 weeks the workers stayed out, sacrificed their pay, supported by their community. Love will find a way. With the women at the forefront, standing tall and proud, they showed the way to others and said something out loud like Imperial. Hey, Imperial, we're not inferior. You're not inferior. Sorry. Imperial. Not so imperial. We're not your slaves anymore. Imperial. And even though in the end you might ask what was achieved, something had changed, something was believed, like knowing who your friends are and how power behaves, self-determination and a parting of the waves. Imperial, Imperial, no more Imperial, Imperial. This instrumental was supposed to be like I'm typing at the keyboard. And now 50 years later, I'm visiting my home, looking through a cupboard, something sits there on its own. Open the container, like remembering a dream, with its keys and bells and ribbons, a magical machine. Imperial, it's an Imperial. Imperial, 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 no more Imperial. Yes, it's an Imperial, Imperial.
Wow, thank you so much. That's a great song and a great story. So
Thanks
check
so
out the
much.
link, everybody, to follow that up some more. And thank you. Let's give a big hand to Phil Hogg for his creative story making and song singing and a great chorus too. I love some of the rhymes too, superior and inferior and imperial. I love that. So it's time to say goodbye. I forgot to say hello to the Facebook folks. So hello to the Facebook folks. And now we're going to say goodbye to the Facebook folks, and I'm going to say goodbye to everybody else. Phil Hogg, thank you so much for your contribution. I look forward to seeing you in the community over the next few weeks, and it's very
All
nice
right.
to finally meet you.
You too.
Um,
Thanks
so
so much,
thank
Peter.
you. Thank you. Thanks to Candace and Bryn and Joe for moving this boat forward every day. And goodbye to David and Elsie in Oakland. Bye bye, Susan in Cincinnati. So long, Arlene in Berkeley. Bye, Carolyn in Boise. Goodbye, Ruth in Birmingham, UK. Kathleen in Albuquerque. So long, Amanda and Miles. I just see Amanda right now. Oh, there's my. Goodbye, Sue in Seattle. So long, Linda from Orcas Island. Bye, Trish from Victoria. So long, Bob from Albany. Carolyn in DC. Bye bye, Mabel and Bear in Massachusetts. So long, Anne in Ontario, Canada. Bye bye, Storm from the Zoomiverse. And Hoda, so long from the British Columbia. Diane is that Puerto Rico? And yes, it is from Puerto Rico. Okay. Sandy from Tacona Park. Deborah from Kentucky. Bye bye. Goodbye, Ian and Sarah. And I'm going to go to the next page here. Ian and Sarah. Oh, yeah. Goodbye. Don and the Curly Tops from Vermont. And Kathy from Colorado. Goodbye, Maureen from Edmonton, Canada. So long. I'm Deli from Maryland. Dan from Vienna. Athena. So long, Athena from Brooklyn. Cricket from Maryland. Bye bye. Bye, Linda from Concord. So long, Dory and Ollie from Rhode Island. Bob in Massachusetts. Ann in Silver Springs. Fred in Silver Springs. Bye bye, Elizabeth in California. Nancy in Washington. Sarah and goodbye to Sarah. Goodbye, Annette from California. Jamie from Victoria. And Galaxy. Galaxy. Goodbye, everybody. Thanks so much for coming. And we'll see you tomorrow or next week or sometime. And thanks for being part of this